Welcome back, everybody. And hey, Bob, how are you doing?
Hey, Bill, doing good. How about you?
Good. I want to talk about forming your own fan base, finding fans, connecting with fans. That's pretty easy to do, right?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, they're standing out line. They're just waiting for you.
Okay. So
Yes.
you do what people have always done. You go take an ad in a newspaper classified column, looking for fans. Write to P-
Yes, that's
write to
exactly.
PO box office, and we'll give me all
Mhm.
your information. How does that how it works? Or am I
No,
a little bit out of touch?
little bit, just a little bit, by many years. I hate to say, Bill.
Well, I'm just
It's
talking
a
purely
it's.
historical research. That's how I learned about newspapers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I looked them up
It's.
on the internet. Yeah.
Oh, you looked up. Okay, yeah, yeah. At least you're using the tools.
Yeah. I'm getting there.
Um, Now it's different beast out there now trying to create a fan base or a readership, however you want to look at it. Um, as a creator, you need your core base, your what the musicians call the mega fans, the ones who are going to support you no matter what you do, and to create that and to nurture it, uh, keep it going along and keeping them happy. There's some creators out there that do a very good job of that.
But to approaching it cold is like I'm an artist. I have as art style. I have a project I'm working on. To like approach it from just totally cold, like, and now I'm looking for fans. It seems like absolutely overwhelming. Like there is no blueprint to do this. There's no, algorithm like here's how you find a fan. So it seems blindingly difficult. Where do you start?
It's very difficult, but it's doable. Um, the thing is, I've gone out and created projects and printed many copies and said, "All right, I'm at the con. I'm ready to go. Let's sell." And
And people flock to your table and throw money at you.
no, they don't,
What?
because I'm in competition with everybody else at the show, trying to get that dollar. And here I've brought something that they have no idea, no information about. May or may not have ever heard of myself, me. And yeah, those have been,
You brought
uh,
up the dreaded C word, competition, which
yeah,
is one of the hardest things for an artist to really wrap their head around because you're so involved in your work, your project. Your natural instinct is you want people to come to you and discover it and enjoy it because that's the creator fan connection. Okay.
hmm?
And it's
Yes,
hard to think in terms of competing with other artists because generally you're the fan of many other artists. And your attitude is not, I'm going to beat them and take them down, you know,
no, no,
and your attitude is, I want to be part of this community. But
yes,
to put your mindset into the fact that you're competing with every other artist, that's hard for a lot of young creators to wrap their mind around.
it is. And as much as you're competing, well, I don't know. There's some artists out there that look at new artists and stuff as competitors, and they can be rude, and there's no reason for it. You should encourage everybody, but you're also competing. The biggest competition is for the fans' money, the dollar, the money that they have that they didn't spend at the comic shop on Wednesday.
The
That they're
limited
bringing.
resource.
Yes, that's it. How much money can they spend in this market, in this genre, and how much do they have set aside? Some creators out there have found evidently an endless amount that they've tapped into, but it's taken them those creators years to develop that mega fan base, and so. But
Well, they just went over Diamond's top 500 orders for the month of March.
hmm,
I said 500.
yeah, I know. I heard that. I was like,
I remember when the bottom of the Diamond chart was like 175. Okay.
I think
But
I
now,
found
if
a
there are,
stapled catalog for Diamond. It was either Diamond or Capital City that was like 100 and something products in it.
yeah,
That would have been when we first opened a store. Oh, gosh, what was that? 16, 17 years ago, something like that.
wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But there's just so many choices out there that it's number one, it's wonderful to have so many choices because people who are not going to be the next, Spider-Man artist still have a way to find their niche and their fan base. Because, and if you want something different than the same cookie cutter, top 10 books, you can find things that may be obscure, but they will really reach your passion and what you love. But the fact that can be so hard to be lost among that crowd, to be able to get the attention that you need, and to be asking to be one more creator to be added to that mix. Okay, it's a tough sell.
It is a tough sell. One thing you brought up earlier was like the creator themselves need to look at them and say, who are you a fan of? Now, that's a good thing to look at, but is that also what you're producing? If you're a fan of superhero comics and you see certain creators that you really follow and they have this certain fan base, well, can you tap into that same fan base? Are you going to create superhero comics? Same thing.
No, I'm going to back up a second. It's possible to be the next big artist for Marvel or DC. I mean, they're always looking for new styles, new materials. These books have to come out. And so we have friends who have made that jump from independent stuff to working for the big two and successfully. So that's not out of the picture. Okay. But you have the first thing you have to tell yourself is, can I compete? Am I as good as what I can find in any Marvel or DC book? And if you're not up to that quality level, you need to get to that quality level.
You do. You need to get that quality level, but is that the type of storytelling you want to tell to also?
Right. So there's many more options. But you mentioned, like, who are you a fan of? That makes me think that if I'm taking this from step one of, like, I'm looking for fans, I want people to enjoy my work and to start following me. Well, who are you following? And how are they connecting with you? Okay. Are they all doing it in the same way?
Right. No, what I follow many different people out there, from a few of the mainstream artists and creators to a lot of the guys who are doing Kickstarters or Indiegogos. Some of the guys who are doing web comics over at Webtoons. So I reach out and follow a lot. But also, personally, I bring this to, ShoutFyre and trying to learn about what's going on. But on the creative side, I'm getting ready to relaunch my own line of comics. And it's been several years since I've done comics. And so I'm looking at what areas I personally want to reach out to, because I'm in the same boat. I've got to recreate a fan base, a readership for these comics. So we're going back to another podcast we talked, is it the creator, is the comic? Creating that fan base, are you creating a fan base for your comic, or are you creating a fan base for you as a creator? That's
some of the people you're following, how are they doing that? Are they using Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? What are the ways that they're connecting with their fans, and do different creators have their own preferred method?
Yes. Some creators don't want to be on video, so you'll get mostly audio, podcasting, Instagram messaging, stuff like that. Now, a lot of them starting to take advantage of this streaming that's, getting very popular in the past couple of years. And so they're using YouTube, using Facebook video, Instagram video, and stuff like that. So I think people want to make a personal connection. And this is what I've been trying to get over to some of the guys with ShoutFyre, is people still like, the thing about conventions was that you saw that creator. I can tell you, going to conventions with Blue Line, setting up, I would walk Artist Alley, that, a couple of times a con. Yes. And I would share the love. If I did a really good show, I'm out picking up things from indie creators. And it was that personal connection for me. Pirate Girl is one. Pirate Girl, yeah, Pirate Girl is one book that I bought in advance, thinking I'll never get it. And I don't know, it was 3, 4, 5 months later, it came in the mail. I really enjoyed the artwork. It was totally different. So there's stuff like that I would pick up and walk around and look at, and if it caught my eye, I'd support. So the conventions, and needless to say, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of conventions this year. Hopefully we get back to them next year. But they want that connection, and that connection is going to have to be using videos and audios more than ever. So there's a lot of
Wow.
tools out there. I just don't know which ones are working. That's what I'm going to be spending some time on.
So we have a lot of professionals and up-and-coming professionals who are using Twitter, Instagram, so many different platforms, and they're putting out sketches. They're not even, they're just putting out what they're doing on a regular basis and keeping connected with people. This kind of brings to my mind the classic chicken or the egg controversy. Okay, which comes first? Okay, did they have the fans first and then they put out material to please the fans? Or I think that's what a lot of creators are waiting for. I feel. I know it's not logical, but am I making kind of a sense here?
Yeah, because, well, we're talking about two different creators, though. The one creator is going to be the one who has the fan base, but they went out and they got a job. They're one of the many top creators who went out and got a job at Marvel, DC, Image, one of the top books. They worked on a book, building a fan base for that book, and then built their name up. And now they can go on and do an indie release. They can do a Kickstarter. They can do something like that with their own project. Of course, pocketing more of the money in their pockets than doing something for one of the big companies. Then you have the creators who don't have those connections, that don't have the book to build a fan base. So now it's really depend on who you can get in front of that will give you a few seconds. I think you're sort of like a used car salesman. You're going to, even with the videos, you're going to have a few seconds to get in front of them. So then so you're going to have to be professional. You have to get some artwork up in front of them that catches their eyes and see if they're going to stick around for a few minutes and see what you're talking about. And if it is something they enjoy, they'll come back. I was online yesterday and I caught Billy Tucci doing a sketch cover on one of those blank covers for a comic book shop as a fundraiser. And I love Billy. Gosh, I love talking to him and stuff. And he was just typical Billy, million miles an hour, chatting and talking. He does that and presents it on his, I guess he's got it on his YouTube. This was a live feed that I was watching. And it builds his audience. It keeps him in front of them. He's done a charitable thing by doing the sketch. It was a beautiful headshot of the thing from Fantastic Four, and I wish he'd draw Fantastic Four now. But it was very cool. These are things you can do to reach out and build that following.
But Bob, I don't have any followers. I have no fans right now. Why should I get online every day, okay, and put up a new sketch or or a new idea, or let people know what I'm doing? I'm not just shouting out to the void. No one's paying attention.
Yes,
but
am I
wasting my time.
Maybe no. You got to start somewhere. Let's see. I was watching a guy create videos, and he says you always got to make your first video, no matter how good or bad it is. You got to make your first one, and then your second one. And this is a guy who makes a living now producing successful videos on how to build a fan base and build videos. So you've got to put your first foot forward. The more places you can send people once you get a connection with them is better. But you've got to take that first step.
Well, I've heard it said you've got 1,000 bad drawings and you've just got to get them out. So start getting up to number 899 and more, so you get those good ones. So the same thing, you had to take the same approach to your social media posts. They might not be good to begin with, but you'll get better.
They will get better. And there's some guidelines there. You got to really watch how much of yourself do you give out. You got to watch opinions that may offend a fan base. If you don't care, then that's fine. I mean, if you're wanting to really limit yourself on who your fans may be, then hey, if you're against this or against that, rally for it, But is there really a need for that? To me, every dollar counts. To me, if I'm going to put effort and time into this, I need to make every dollar to offset doing it again and then investing in the future. So I try to be very careful with my social media posts. I'm going to start sharing a lot more on social media. Start doing some new videos once we get the cameras and everything set up here in the studio. Doing more podcast interviews. You've got to reach out there. And the thing is, all this does, it takes away from your creative time. You're not writing, you're not drawing, you're not producing, but this is part of your creating time. Building a fan base.
I think you have to, you make it part of your creative time.
Yes, it has to be.
Your creative time cannot simply be penciling. It has to be looking for elements of storytelling. It has to be, everything that you do. If penciling is your number one joy, there's other things that you do that inform the penciling, that make you a better penciler by making you a better consumer. Okay. So reading books, looking at other artists, trying to practice what is that artist doing, and can I copy it just for practice, not to change your own style. But that will make your style better also. So there's things that, just if you're too focused on one thing, you're going to miss the other influences that's going to make your one thing better.
Yes.
But also, there's a vanity element to this of I have X number of followers. People are checking my work out. But to begin with, it's like jumping off a cliff. I don't have any followers. What do I do? And I think basically you jump off the cliff. You start putting things out there and don't care if no one is looking,
Right.
But one thing you need to realize is that eventually, once you do get those fans, the fans who discover you, they may discover you 1 year, 2 years into what you're doing, but they're discovering that backlog of 2 years worth of stuff that you put out there.
Well, the one thing I'm working on is I've been doing this for, 20 something years. And over that time, you know me, I've gone out and created retail stores, and then I get back to publishing comics. Then I go out and create this, and then come back publishing some comics. And in this whole almost 30 years, I've owned Blue Line Pro and have sold art supplies, which have really slowed down the past few years because of digital, and that's understandable. But I'm back into doing comics. Well, at this point, I think we've created about 22 comics working with other creators, but they're either characters I've created, or some of it I've written, some of it I've inked, I've been involved in the creating process. When I launched this Kickstarter myself, I'm going to give away all 22 comics online. You come to my site and you can read all 22 comics. I want you to get to know these characters. I'm putting together a who's who. Remember the who's who from DC and Marvel and those guys?
Yeah, those are still very popular in back issues.
I love those. I even have the binders here that DC put out. Remember they had binders with the 3-hole punches?
Oh, I got them, yes.
3 ring. Yes, those were awesome. Well, I'm not going to do that, but there will be a who's who we're building up here. So be able to click on characters. So my daily post will be, I actually have, I would say probably hundreds of pieces of artwork and sketches and prints and stuff that we designs, layouts that we will be posting here, building up. Like, this will be if you get interested in this project, this is the place to go. So if you have that history, put it out there.
People have more history than they think they have, I would think.
Yes.
They were like, you probably have a pile of sketches that you think, oh, well, they didn't work out the way I want. They're really not that good. But no, you put the stuff out there and let people see the process. Okay. Put some comments about what you're doing or why you like this or didn't like this.
That's where that's where I was going to go. If you do a cover design or a layout of a page and it didn't turn out exactly what you wanted, and then you did it the way you wanted it, put out the one that you laid out and say, yeah, this was my original. It just wasn't flowing the way I wanted it to flow. And so then here's my finished one. Use it as a conversation starter. Use it as, hey, I'm sharing a piece of me. This is something that really nobody's going to really see. I wouldn't take this to a convention with me, but by following me and being being involved with me online with media, social media, blogs, I'm going to share this with you.
But all of a sudden, you found another artist who's going to comment on that and share something from their process. So you've connected to another like-minded individual. And you connect to another and another, okay? Mm-hmm. And there's so much to learn from each other.
Definitely.
Both in your style of artwork, but also in how are you connecting? How are you building your network and expanding your network of people?
And another thing is sharing of fan bases. I mean, if I make a connection with a creator that I've known since he started, and he has a fan base, and he's done something with me, I'm going to make a big deal out of it, connect him, I may even reach out and say, hey, let's do a chat about it, even though it's been a few years ago that you created it. And now I'm reaching out to his fan base, drawing them over and say, hey, take a look at this. There's ways to build your fan base, to build your following, to create a readership who will want to support you. And that's the key. The
And
key
maybe
is
not
that
all of
they
his
want to
fans will
support you.
like your work. I'm sorry,
Oh
but
no, not all.
if 10 or 20% do, then you're found more and more people, and it builds and builds. Okay, but
Yes.
the way you start is by just starting. Okay, start putting stuff out there. Okay, don't worry about who's even looking at it. Just get into the pattern, the habit of sharing your work and building a presence, putting yourself. People cannot find you if you're not out there.
My big thing is baby steps. One step at a time is how we get to walking. And then we get up and we get to running. So yeah, just take that baby step forward.
I think that's where we need to wrap it up for today because we.
Sounds good.
But yeah, it's one of the hardest. It's an act of bravery to just put things out there, not knowing how people are going to react, not knowing how many fans you're going to get. But you have to start somewhere, so you just have to start.
You do. And another thing is, I want anybody who's listening to this, if you have a success story, if you have something you've done that was really brought you in a lot of fans, share that with us. We got an email, podcast@shoutfyre.com. I'll put it in below on the audio here. Send me an email. I'll share it with Bill here. We'll discuss it. I have a feeling we're just breaking the ice on building a fan base because there's going to be so many areas we can move into and focus on and try to share.
Yeah, just to wrap up, I'd like to echo, yeah, we'd love to hear from people. What else do you want us to talk about? What stories do you have to share? Because that's how this all builds.
Yes. Sounds great.
Thanks for your time, Bob. Talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Bill. Take care.
Bye-bye.